Hello, Star Wars fans. Hey, there's just 125 days until Christmas 2021. Oh, and today we're doing a bit of a special live stream. We've got Star Wars Meg with us again. Just do a bit of a wrap up of the news and information came out this week. And we may try to do this on a somewhat regular basis. We're looking into perhaps getting it on the calendar on Fridays when it makes sense. So, Meg, thanks so much for making time on this Saturday afternoon, morning, or whatever it may be. I know it's early evening for you and it's noon here, but I'm really looking forward to chatting with you today about some Star Wars.
Thank you so much for having me, as always.
We've got a lot of the regulars in the chat here saying there's Ronnie. Hi, Santa and Mug. You're not going to live that down. And by the way, how you doing on the Star Wars Mega Mug merchandise?
I'm in the process of thinking about creating it.
Okay, I know what that means. We got to move you. We need to move you on to the next stage of development, though.
It's kind of like the Lego Skywalker Saga game.
Yeah. So the doorbell went off, and the dogs are losing their minds. So we have to put up with that. I think they're
barking at the mug joke that you made. They're not too happy with the idea.
No, we all love the idea of a mega mug. I need one in such a bad way, and I can't wait till you get that worked out. Move on to the actual next stage of development and design and getting it out there for us. Hey, Trev, good to see you. We were talking about Canadians earlier. Good to see you, my friend. Very good. Yeah, Santa's reindeer sound like dogs. You know, they're miniature schnauzers, so they make a lot of noise. That's get a dog you can't. Well, no. There you go. Oh, Daniel's on vacation. Enjoy your vacation, Daniel. So, Meg, we've got a good bit of topics to talk about, and I thought we'd start maybe with the Bad Batch. And you did a video this morning reminding us about Sid and maybe working with Jedi before or knowing them, and did one earlier this week about a bit of a time jump for season 2. So, What are your thoughts around the Bad Batch, Sid, the time jump, and all of that?
I think as two separate topics, they're really interesting. The time jump in and of itself would be really interesting if we get if it's more than a year, then I think we're in for something really significant, because we'll be firmly rooted in the Imperial era of the galaxy, and it won't feel anything like the prequels. And I think that was, the symbolism of Kamino falling was like, okay, this is your childhood. I mean, if you're my age, and now it's dead, and now it's going, into the original trilogy era. So the kind of missions and conundrums that the Bad Batch will get up to are going to be very different. We don't even know if they're going to be mercenaries anymore. We don't know what's kind of in store on their side of things, because we might understand the general political scenario of the galaxy under the, dictatorship of the Empire and the cloning facility. But I think it'll be really interesting to see what the Bad Batch get up to and how that ties into the overall Star Wars story. To do with Sid, if they are going to still use Ord Mantell as a base and Sid is still around, I think I mentioned this briefly this morning, but she's going to probably send them on some missions that are more meaningful.
Well, so you're right. There's kind of two topics here to unpack. As far as a time jump, it kind of depends on how long that time jump is, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Even within this season, we had a little bit of time jumps between episodes where we see them coming back from a mission. We didn't see anything about the mission. And presumably that would have taken some amount of time, a day, 2, a week, who knows? And we really didn't have a firm kind of outline of the duration of the entire season. Was it a period of weeks or months? And if we're going to do a time jump, is it going to be months or years? And how big might that be? And I would hope that it's not like all the way into A New Hope yet. We're not like 15 years later or something. That it would be maybe within 2 or 3 years. Are you thinking more?
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think any time jump, it wouldn't be that significant. It wouldn't be 10 years. It wouldn't make any sense because, it leaves this huge gap. I think when they say time jump, they're really teasing the idea of character development. I think when season 2 comes in, Crosshair specifically is going to be in a completely different situation that we saw him in at the end of Camino Lost. And, he's probably going to rejoin the Empire or hang out with some bounty hunters and find his place somewhere else. But when season 2 comes along, we'll know for certain. I don't think they're going to leave it open-ended. That's what they mean by time jump. I don't see it being necessarily propelled into the future and Omega's gone through her entire adolescence. I don't think that's what we're in for.
Yeah. And like Trev said, if anything, it'd be less than 5. I agree. And that it'd be just maybe a couple, and they're more established. And as it relates to Sid, I sort of do hope that they stay with a base on Ord Mantell, and we've seen that they continue to have a bit of a relationship with her. I enjoyed her character, unlike our friend Qi'ra. Hopes that she's lizard steak. oh, Qi'ra, that's very nice. But yeah, I hope that she's still part of the show, because that sort of whole dynamic worked for me. Maybe not everybody, and I've seen a lot of the complaints about her as well, like those were meaningless and they didn't appreciate sort of the interaction or the missions that they were based out of Ord Mantell, and they really wanted to see more of the progression from the Clone Wars to the original trilogy era, the Empire, and dealing with the transition and the Bad Batch themselves coming to terms with their involvement with the Empire coming into power as they were working with the government before it switched over. So I get that there's 2 different schools of thought, but I really enjoyed Sid. I loved her nicknames and kind of giving them a hard time, the harassment that she gave them. But you might guess that because Santa takes a good bit of harassment here on my own channel. So I enjoy it. Hey, Trinity, good to see you here. She started with a time jump about 200 rotations. I could see something similar having it started. Oh, okay. So between the Clone Wars season 7 appearance and the start of the Bad Batch, there was a bit of a jump. So it could be similar to something like that. 200 rotations, about a year, maybe.
I don't think there was a time jump. As far as I know, Aftermath takes place in the same sort of time period that Ahsoka escapes with Rex. I don't think there was a time jump because it wouldn't make any sense. Commander Gray executed Order 66 on Depa Billaba.
Right.
And we know that takes place at exactly the same time that all the other clones executed it on their Jedi commanders. So
yeah, I'm in agreement with you. We were sort of speculating throughout the season that would it fit for Ahsoka to show up. And when you look at the Ahsoka novel and where she is, what she's up to, it might not be a alignment because not enough time had passed. So 200 rotations of what and how many days? I'm more of the mindset that, yeah, it started right at Order 66. We saw Commander Gray get that order and try to execute it, and that's what got Crosshair separated from the Bad Batch right off the get-go, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Very good. Hey, Matt Risman has joined as a new member of the channel. Thank you so much, Matt. It means a ton to us. Thanks so much. So let's go on. I was just getting caught up on some of the comments. Oh no, everybody finds her tasty. A rotation's not a day. A jump of 200 days from 7, but almost a year since they were last on Camino. So you're coming up with that from somewhere, Sheev. I think the 200 reference takes. It's from the last time they were on Camino, the Bad Batch themselves.
Oh, I see. I think he means the actual story of the Bad Batch in the Clone Wars Season 7, not Season 7 as a whole.
Okay. Very good. All right. So we've got we've got some speculation about Heir to the Empire adaptation being made due to that season finale, right? So we talked about a little bit before, but how might they make it an adaptation? Do you think that with us seeing that Mount Tantus was right there, and that comes from the Heir to the Empire, would maybe season 2 of the Bad Batch have a crossover? Or would it be in the same kind of context, like 5 years after Return of the Jedi, and we get maybe a Disney Plus shows set before the Mandalorian season 1 that is more or less an adaptation of Heir?
I think all of these ideas about an adaptation of Heir to the Empire are just kind of fake news. Just because I think they will introduce elements of the expanded universe, but it's not going to be an Heir to the Empire adaptation. It's going to use elements from the expanded universe and kind of sprinkle them on top sporadically.
Yeah.
I don't think we're literally going to get a remake with, Mara Jade, and I don't see that happening.
Yeah, I don't see them bringing Mara Jade in either. And for me, I think any adaptation, because they did go to the bother of giving us Mount Tantus and what's the name of the planet again?
Wayland.
Wayland. So they went to the trouble of giving it at the end of the season of Bad Batch. Why would they give us that if they weren't going to do anything with it? But I don't think it's going to be a full-on retelling of Heir to the Empire, and I don't think we're going to see like Sabaoth and Luke and all of that kind of nonsense. I really don't see that happening. But they may adapt certain aspects of it, as you said, some sprinkling here or there of some of the story elements. I just don't see them retelling it.
I think we're just setting ourselves up for, disappointment. We've seen time and time again that whenever it seems like we're going to get something from a different element of the Star Wars universe or different piece of Star Wars media, and then it doesn't happen. So I think it's going to be very limited elements of it in line with a new story. It's kind of like they're going to use the flavor of Heir to the Empire to fragrance whatever story comes next. So it's going to be like, it's going to not give a nod to the fans of the expanded universe and say, look, I acknowledge you, but this is the direction we're going in.
Yeah. Anthony asks us to answer, in terms of age for Omega, by the time season 2 starts, how old do you think we're going to be? Well, assuming now that she's approximately the same age as Boba Fett, give or take a little, well, not give, but maybe minus a little bit, it'll put her in her early teens.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Early teens.
Yeah. And if they release Rangers of the New Republic, do you think it'll replace Cara Dune?
I think they'll do a completely different story. I think they needed to take it out of production so that they can rethink which parts of the original Rangers can we keep and how can we change this into a new story that doesn't rely on Cara Dune.
Yeah.
So I really don't know. No one knows.
Yeah, nobody knows. If I were to guess, I would say that she probably just won't be in it. They won't recast, and they won't necessarily kill her off. She'll just be not part of the story. So there won't be a need to address it. And so get back to Heir of the Empire. Jason, thanks for stopping in this morning. Take beats from Heir to the Empire elements, but can't be a full-on retelling. I agree. And I like Treb's first message that said because Bob wasn't in Heir to the Empire. I don't know. I mean, nobody named Bob in Heir to the Empire.
Bob Skywalker.
Exactly. Well, and Bob's your uncle, so.
I do get the enthusiasm. I do get the enthusiasm. I can never say that word. Of fans who want the Heir to the Empire and the Thrawn trilogy, but we can't expect them to literally retell it or give a vague overview of it. I think they're just gonna, because ultimately they own the company. Disney owns the company, so they can take what they want from it and leave the rest out. And I think, for a moment, it did seem like they were going to use a large part of it with the Marvel comics. When we saw those Snoke clones on Exegol and Vader's sort of wandering through, and it's implied that Luke's hand was used to create Snoke. That could still happen, and Snoke could be like the Disney version of Luke, or Luke with two U's. But seeing Wayland and Mount Tantis, sorry, and I'm very tired. I'm sorry.
Oh no!
I don't remember what I was going to say. I'm blushing.
You're not in the chat, Meg. You're actually live on stream.
Yeah, but it's a possibility.
Well, Trev brings up another good point of when Heir to the Empire was written, the concept of Ahsoka hadn't been developed. Boba Fett wasn't in it. Fennec Shand wasn't in it. And all of those characters exist in universe, in canon now. And you'd have to account for that to at least some degree as well. So,
yeah.
Let's see.
Trev says we have Ezra, Ahsoka, and Boba and Fennec.
Yeah.
Oh, and speaking of this, I might make a video about this. I was reading that, in a sense, we have an entire Rebels sequel with all of these new shows.
Oh, yeah. Well, not only that, but it looks like a lot of Rebels prequels are happening. And in many senses, you could say that the Bad Batch was a Rebels prequel. That Obi-Wan could end up being a bit of a Rebels prequel or tie-in. Almost all of the projects that we sort of see it in works, except perhaps the Acolyte, have some Rebels tie-in. So that's why we're doing a bit of a rewatch of Rebels on our Discord, because so much of the content is tying directly into Rebels. And I agree completely. Ahsoka, perhaps Rangers, or the Thrawn Ezra show, whatever that might be. All of that's going to be directly sequel to Rebels. It all ties into Rebels, and something we need to be aware of. So that's a valid point.
I think it makes sense from like a business perspective for Disney as well, because if you need to have seen The Bad Batch and Rebels before watching these upcoming shows, that will keep people subscribed or encourage people to stay with their subscription once they've seen Obi-Wan Kenobi, which is going to have the Inquisitors,
Yep.
allegedly. And Heir Syndulla will probably eventually come into the Mandoverse. Omega, I can definitely see them bringing her in at some stage.
I totally think so. And if they end up doing a series on the Inquisitors, which was rumored a little bit ago, then that's going to tie in directly as well. And Jason brings up a point about Rangers as being a bit of Cobb Vanth spinoff from what he's heard. I would love to see more Timothy Oliphant with Cobb Vanth. So sign me up for that.
I also learned something today, if you want to know an exclusive scoop.
Oh, we got Meg the Scooper. Go ahead.
Omega is not going to be in the Book of Boba Fett.
Well, okay, that's good to kind of get more confirmation. I think a lot of us suspected it would be too soon. Her character's not been developed enough. We haven't seen enough of her storyline to all of a sudden put her in the Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
If you were to guess how long it might take to bring Omega into that time frame, into the Mandoverse, Book of Boba Fett's clearly too early, but might she show up in any of the other series that have already been announced, or is it maybe a yet to be announced series that she might show up in first?
I also feel like, they started working on the Book of Boba Fett a long time before The Bad Batch even had a trailer, So when you consider that, and they didn't know the fan reception, and as you say, it was way too early, it wouldn't make sense to have had Omega put in this soon into live action, especially when The Bad Batch is really starting to gain traction. And by season 2, there will be it'll be like a cult favorite in the Star Wars fandom. So
yeah,
I think we'll eventually see her though. Maybe
I do too. I think season 4. I could see her showing up in maybe the Rangers. That might be the first that I really think might tie in. You got to think about the story and why would she show up? And it may make sense why she would show up in the Book of Boba Fett because of being the sister deal. Mm-hmm. But it's kind of too soon. So maybe if there's a Book of Boba Fett season 2 or 3, something like that, it might make sense. Or like I said, Rangers. Otherwise, I really don't see why. What's the story?
Yeah. It would also confuse the audience because no matter what the outcome, it will ruin her backstory. It's kind of like watching the original trilogy first as it came out. You already knew what the prequels were going to be when they eventually came out in the early 2000s. And I don't think that's what Lucasfilm want to do. I think they want to set up a bit more storyline. And then maybe by the end of the Bad Batch season 2, she wants to become a Mandalorian. And then it ends. And maybe we get her future story in one of the Mandalorian spin-offs.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it.
The Boba Fett's going to have more than one season.
Right. It could be a one and done. And I think that's sort of what it's planned for. But most people think, well, if it gets enough eyeballs, subscribers, then of course they'll do another season. But we'll see. And I think we already answered this to a bit, Anthony. I don't think we're going to see a live action Mara Jade anytime soon at all. I don't see any desire to do that.
I agree. I don't think there's any chance. At least not at this event in November.
I'm getting caught up on the comments. Put in the appeal.
I don't think that counts as a swear word.
I don't think it does either. I think we'll be okay.
We could put it down to accent.
There you go.
How we pronounce Pantis.
it's a colloquialism in the part of London Meg lives in. There.
It's also a bird. It's like, oh, look at those blue tits.
Don't double down on it.
Oh, it's a small tit,
Don't double down.
I've become David Attenborough. Here we see the great tits.
Oh no, Meg, stop. Felicity, hey, thanks for the super chat, Felicity. She's a fan of the Mount Titties. That's great. A word you never thought you'd hear Santa say. Oh my goodness. Ahsoka
is
and
Felicity's surname really Poubelle?
I don't know that it's a swear word. It is a bird.
No, I meant Felicity's last name.
Oh, I don't know. Oh, people like seeing me get red. Like, oh, my noggin's hot.
Watching Santa get flushed. That's fine.
Oh, and Meg is so good at doing it. That's the other part, is she regularly embarrasses me quite well. So let's move on. No, I did want to talk about one other thing. You did a video earlier in the week about Mace Windu not being dead. And I completely agree. There's no way that he's dead. Might he be the nod to Sabaoth, right? The crazy Jedi that's got an addled brain.
I'm so sorry. Could you please repeat the question?
You're still laughing, right? I could hear. No, you did the video on Mace Windu not being dead. Might they use a crazy Mace Windu instead of like a George Sabaoth?
That would be really epic, but I don't know if it would ruin the character. I've always imagined that if Mace... I mean, this is just my headcanon, so it doesn't mean much in terms of what we actually get, but I've always imagined that Mace Windu went into hiding, kind of saw the rise of the Empire, and kind of hung out for a bit, and maybe we'll see him as an old man.
And when might we see... There were some rumors that he might show up in the Bad Batch season 1, but then a lot of people were saying, no, if we get Mace Windu alive, it's got to be in live action.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So where would he plug in?
The Book of Boba Fett makes the most sense because of the Boba Fett connection. Boba watched Mace kill his father in front of him. Boba seems to be out for revenge. We know the show's going to be all killer, no filler.
Right.
But at the same time, fans would probably expect him to appear in Obi-Wan Kenobi. Just because he's a prequel character. We've got Ian McGregor, Hayden Christensen. There's the rumor of Ian McDermott coming back. And, I got a very interesting response when I asked his agent a question recently. But I'll share that with you privately.
Okay. Very good.
But
just real quick.
I do think Obi-Wan Kenobi is a good place.
Well, that does make a lot of sense. If he's going to show up, the Book of Boba Fett would be my bet. Because he got addled being yeeted out of the window, maybe some memory loss. It takes him some time to figure out who he is, where he is, what's going on. And then eventually he shows up as an old man, as you mentioned. And Johnny42, thank you for joining as a member. Appreciate it. And I saw a comment back here, Trev, Mace being a stand-in as Windu. I like that. I like that a lot. Windu. Mace goes Luke Last Jedi.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
That's how I imagine him, just like, missing an eye and just like living under a... I can't say that. Like just living in a pile of rubbish.
Felicity.
Boba comes out and he's like, are you the Jedi who killed my father? I can't do the accent. And then Mace is like, yeah, I'm still alive, mother father. So,
Yeah, get some real good. Oh shoot, what's the actor's name?
Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, Samuel L. Jackson. Just let him loose. Let it
Yeah.
fly. Felicity would probably appreciate that version versus the one she's worried about getting, right?
Nick Fury.
Yeah, she doesn't want to see Nick Fury version of Windu. Sith nerd, hey, hello. Maybe he'll be in Kenobi and he'll go against Vader, and Vader kills him.
I feel like that's actually a very good idea. Because obviously there's the Anakin Mace Windu dynamic.
Right.
I just don't see Deborah Chow doing that, though.
I don't either. I don't see him killing him, to be honest. I think he's alive. I think it's clear that he is, and then we're just waiting to see where he's going to come in and what kind of context. So now we can move on. The Visions trailer came out this past week. What did it do for your excitement over seeing this anime stuff come?
I'm not going to lie to you. So before this trailer came out, I was pretty adamant I wasn't too interested. And this trailer really won me over. I was really, really taken by the incredible art style and the visuals. Beautiful. The storyline of, an ancient Jedi came to this village. Like, they've sold me. I'm going to be watching it and reviewing it. So,
well, that's good. It also increased my interest. I went from like maybe a 5 to like a 7. There's still parts of it I'm not so sure about, but overall it looks amazing, and it looks like something I'd enjoy quite a bit. I'm not sure about the rock opera piece. Maybe it'll be all right. I just don't know how much is going to be in that. And then I'm not so sure about Astro Boy. And, fans of my channel know that Santa's no Astro Boy fan. And even though they've changed his name, he's supposed to be 2B. I'm not so sure. I'll hold off until I see it. And maybe I'll be a big fan of 2B. But at this point, those are my reservations, and we'll see what happens.
The thing with AstroTurf is he basically just looks like a Pokemon.
Yeah. You will like Astro Boy. Darth Chaos trying to use his Sith magic on me. You will like the Astro Boy. I don't know. We'll see. You may have to work on your Jedi mind tricks there, Darth Chaos. I'm not sure.
Did you say Jedi or Jeddah? Like the
Jedi.
Jedi, the Jeddah mind tricks.
Or Sith mind tricks. I'm not sure. Being a Darth, it'd be Sith mind tricks. Maybe.
Jeddah's a moon in Star Wars, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the moon of
There are a few
Jeddah.
planets
Well,
I can't say, like Nashada. Like whenever I see that written, it just.
what I did a review earlier today of this Heir to Empire Luke Skywalker Black Series figure, and that little lizard that's in there, the Force canceling lizards. Forget it. They're lizards. I can't say the Ysalarmi whatever. How is Ysalamari? Listen, I don't know. Listen,
there are Star Wars characters more generally with unpronounceable names.
Yeah. Do you know how to say that word?
I'm so tempted to make a joke, but it'll get you demonetized. I'll just leave it. Ysalamari?
Oh, you did better than me. I don't know. So, the gallery. So this Wednesday, we finally get that gallery episode. People are generally really excited about it. The little trailer that came out a couple of days ago was fantastic. To hear John, it was Dave Filoni talking about how much of emotion comes into seeing Mark Hamill on set and to see him portray Luke in the way that he did, that it was a tremendous, the trailer itself was really tremendous. So I'm really looking forward to seeing the episode. So what are your thoughts about this Wednesday?
I'm really excited, just as much as I was for like the Mandalorian season 2 finale, simply because in the trailer we see that green astromech, and that's what Ming-Na Wen said, where they tried to conceal the fact that it was R2-D2 by just painting him green. And obviously there's the whole story of they were initially telling the whole cast that the big Jedi reveal at the end was Plo Koon and how he survived. So I'm really interested if they actually got like a Plo Koon mask or something. And I also, the prequel fan in me who was really nerdy about all of the different Jedi members of the council, I'm really curious to see if Dave Filoni implies that Plo Koon is still alive, because I've always wondered if he died or not.
Well, I like Plo Koon.
I like Plo Koon.
It would be cool to see him still alive, but I'd say opposite from Mace, where I'm quite convinced that he's not dead. With Plo Koon, I'm more convinced that he is dead. And,
he got shot down, but we didn't see him die.
Well, and that's the way it is, right? Like anytime somebody gets shot down, I remember when our bounty hunter with the antenna, what's her name?
That's all of them.
No, she's in the Phantom Menace up there on
Aurra Sing.
Yeah, Aurra Sing. She got shot down, and she wasn't dead. It looked like that would have killed her, but not the case.
Really gone.
Right. Nobody's ever really gone.
We're clones, sir. We're meant to be expendable, not to me.
Except for Aunt Beru and yeah, Aunt Beru and Uncle Lars. They're the only ones that are really, really dead. They're crispy.
You mean Uncle Owen?
Uncle Owen, sorry. My brain.
Uncle Lars.
Owen Lars, see? Still the same.
Out the big brain on Santa. Mind you, Santa is something else. So.
I know, you got me flustered. I'm still not back to regular color. That happened later.
You know what I was thinking the other day, though? There are species from the prequels I really hope we see again, and Toydarians are one of them.
Oh, I would love to see a Toydarian again. I think we've seen them in a couple of the novels, but I haven't. Yeah, we haven't seen them.
Because we're going back to Tatooine for Boba. I know that Watto's dead, but he got sliced by Vader.
Wouldn't Ahsoka have a feeling if Plo Koon was still alive? Well, it would kind of depend, right?
I would say no. Just because you could make the argument for how did Luke not know that Ahsoka was still alive? Or any of the other Jedi. Like Ezra.
Right.
So then you go down the route of why didn't Ben Kenobi look for Ahsoka?
No hacks, just Gavin. No kidding. Yeah, we know that. It's just that when they were filming it, Dave Filoni kind of hinted anyway, that with Ming-Na Wen, that the Jedi was going to be Plo Koon, and they didn't actually see Mark Hamill on set when they were doing their scenes. So they were doing their scenes as if they were seeing Plo Koon come in, because that's who they assumed he was. It doesn't mean that we think that it was Plo Koon.
Maybe Dave is Plo Koon.
Maybe so. Have you seen Plo Koon without his mask?
It's horrifying. Looks like Dave Filoni. I'm joking. Dave is beautiful.
Oh, the chat. So good. All right. So, no, I'm really, really excited about this gallery episode. I was disappointed when we only had the one episode for season 2. I was really hoping we'd get several like we did with season 1. And I'm happy that we're getting this second one. I would be even happier if we were getting maybe 6 more, right? So that we kind of got one. Like when season 1, there was basically an episode for every episode, right? Every episode of The Mandalorian, there was a gallery episode, and where you could kind of see the making of that episode. And there's some episodes in season 2 I would love to see a gallery dedicated to, more than just the season finale, which is tremendous. Don't get me wrong, but I want more. I'm greedy that way, I suppose.
I want more, and I know I shouldn't.
I know I shouldn't. You're so good. You're so good. So that leads us into Mando season 3. So we talked about Mando season 2, the season finale with the gallery episode coming out. Yeah. Carl Weathers did an interview, said Grief Carga is going to be in season 3. We're going to see some, or he's going to direct an episode or so. And earlier in the week, Jason, making StarWars.net, Jason said that he's seen some Navarro's set pieces down there. So kind of confirms everything. Everything fits together. If we go back to Navarro, we talked about Rangers and Rangers not involving Cara Dune at all, and I think that's fair. But we go back to Navarro in Mando's season 3, and we've got Grief Karga. Then I think they at some point have to address where's Cara Dune.
Yeah, this is what I'm thinking. Like, how come we're going to go back to Navarro? Like, they're deliberately making it difficult to explain where she is, because Cara Dune was the marshal of Navarro.
Right.
So it's like, somehow Cara Dune died, or, she's on, the planet Benito Shapiro 4, or whatever it is. Yeah, it's going to be a bit odd not having Cara Dune. Like, regardless of what you think of the Gina Carano thing, I quite like the character of Cara Dune. I thought she brought a lot of edge to the show.
Yeah, I liked her character. I wasn't a big fan of her acting, just to be honest. Her best episode was the first one she showed up in, and then after that, she's still developing as an actress, let's say. It wouldn't bother me to see her recast. I know that it would get a lot of fans in uproar again, but probably the easiest way without getting a bunch of fan hate again is to just say she's out doing something, right? She's like, as you say, on the planet BS4, whatever the case, right?
Yeah.
And look, there's demand for these mega mugs. I know you're in the. You're just
and they're
in
going to
the
be Skittle colored.
You're in the pre-contemplation phase of development, but we need to get you into the execution phase of development where they actually come into being. We need some mega mugs.
Pre-contemplation, more like pre-constipation. There's a lot of demand for it.
Right. See what you've done to me. You've given me.
Jason at MakingStarWars.net says, recast her. The Twitter bubble doesn't represent the average consumer. I mean, I've always said Kathleen Kennedy should play Cara Dune in season 3. I'm sure the fandom menace would love that. That's all they want.
Well, maybe they need a 5'3" version of Cara Dune with an English accent. Well, why not?
I mean, the ethnicity would be off.
Well, who cares? She's shorter. She's got a different accent.
So.
Oh my goodness!
All the dunes.
All the dunes. Oh, I am hot. I need a fan.
I thought you were complimenting yourself for a minute. I thought, okay, well, there's that.
Oh man, It is toasty. I can't
was
even.
joking about Kathleen Kennedy, by the way. Someone
I know
said,
you are. I know
Yeah.
you are. I know, people take it way too. Yeah, Meg for casting director. There you go. We can get you a job at Lucasfilm.
Yeah, I've always said if you want to enjoy my videos, don't take anything I say seriously.
It was
Except when I'm
actually
serious.
that was 100% Plo Koon at the end of season 2. You all got it wrong. That wasn't Luke Skywalker. It was Plo Koon. You heard it here. Jeez.
Kennedy.
Caffeine Kennedy. Right.
She was just trying to get around the fact that his girlfriend is called Kathy.
And my wife's name's Kathy, so you have that too.
Go. Tale of two Kathys. Well, three Kathys.
3 Kathys, right. So, yeah, we've got this issue to deal with. Grief Carga is going to be in it. Navarro is going to be in it. And they'll have to do something about Cara Dune. And what they'll do, who knows? What about John Boyega coming back to You're Not Going to Disney Plus Me?
I think this is kind of just a rumor, which is my polite way of saying I don't believe it's real. Like, I don't think John Boyega would return so soon.
Right.
I could be wrong, though, because, I'm sure they're looking to make sequels to the sequels eventually. So I don't think Finn's getting his own Disney Plus series. It sounds like a fan fiction from people who enjoy the character.
Well, maybe so, but like Jason brought up, he still has like 6 appearances left on his contract. So he could be brought in for a limited series. But to me, it's more speculation town than it is even like rumor. People just saying, maybe we could. And like Jason said, he asked around, there's none of his sources know anything of a Finn story being produced. So not that he has all of the sources, but he has some, and nobody's heard anything of it. It wouldn't surprise me that it's just speculation. People coming up with news on a slow news day, right?
I think, as Dale says, yet. I mean, obviously Jason has incredible sources, but eventually they will make sequels to the sequels. But I think this is fake news. I don't think there's going to be a Finn series, at least at this stage. And also, we know that John Boyega is working on different things. So, like, how would that physically fit in to everything? Unless we're talking like 2025 or whatever. Right.
And Gavin's still not getting the joke. So, Gavin, seriously, we know. Trust us. We're joking. Gee, my God. Oh my. Just because we can do a thing doesn't mean we should. And I don't think there's a Finn series in the work. I do think that John Boyega has changed his tune on coming back to portray Finn, and perhaps he could show up in a Disney series, but I don't think anything's in the work yet.
It's kind of like what Oscar Isaac said when he was asked if he would ever reprise the role of Poe Dameron. He said, "Only if I need a new house." Because the Disney money is, something else.
Well, I agree. And not only that, but the landscape's changed since he said that. Streaming services are far more popular. They're becoming the standard for delivery direct to customer, as Bob likes to say. So I think that's the future. That's where we're headed. And more movie stars are going to start showing up in streaming service series or movies. And it would not be anything to see John Boyega come in as Finn in a Disney Plus movie or series. I think that would be fine.
I would have no issue with the Disney Plus series on Finn, but I don't think it's happening.
Right.
I have no issue with any upcoming Star Wars content.
No, all of it looks good to me. All of it looks good. So what about Qi'ra in the Book of Boba Fett? Now, you did a video on this earlier in the week as well. We saw Qi'ra show up in the War of the Bounty Hunters comic. And spoilers, I'm sure you guys have already heard. But anyway, she shows up. She steals Han Solo's, in Carbonite, right? She steals Han Solo, and Boba Fett has to get Han back for his bounty for Jabba. So Qi'ra is set up to be in the Return of the Jedi era, and there's a direct connection now to her and Boba Fett, and her showing up in the Book of Boba Fett could make a lot of sense.
It's the new Charles Soule comic, Crimson Reign. It's coming out, and it's going to be a five-part series.
Okay, but will she show up in the Book of Boba Fett? All that filming's already done, and it's in post-production. I sort of have the same concern that the story is being established at the same time the filming was happening, and that story was already written, and that it might not be a thing.
I don't know, but I've got a premonition we will see her, because Crimson Dawn are after Boba before Return of the Jedi, and vice versa. However that plays out in the upcoming comics is going to be interesting. We know that Qi'ra has stolen, as you said, Han Solo and Carbonite on Boba's way to Jabba's palace, and then Leia and Luke get involved and they contact Admiral Holdo. I think they're going to be pretty active on Tatooine at that point. And even if we don't get Qi'ra, we'll get a name drop or maybe other members.
There you go.
But another thing for the Book of Boba Fett, which kind of ties in, is the New Republic. You know, there was also that rumor that we will see Trapper Wolf, because merch that was given to the crew has Trapper Wolf on it. So he's a possibility again. Well,
we have a Black Series Trapper Wolf figure coming out as well. So more Trapper Wolf.
One for Dave Filoni's mid-region.
Exactly. So a question: am I a fan of the MCU? I'm a casual fan, not like a deep dive kind of guy. And most of the stuff that I like, people don't, and most of the stuff I don't like, people do. Example: Thor Ragnarok. To me, it's not rewatchable. I didn't like it. It's the least favorite of any appearance of Thor in the MCU for me. Now, most people disagree with me vehemently, and so it makes any opinion of mine of the MCU instantly invalid. So that's it. What about you, Meg? Are you a fan of the MCU?
I love My Chemical Romance. I really like their first album. I'm joking. No, I'm only a Star Wars fan, not really big on Marvel.
Right. I like DC better than Marvel, but DC's not giving us a lot of great content as far as movies go. So hopefully that gets better. And another super chat, Diaz. What's the difference between Shatterpoint and the technique that Scourge used in the Revan novel? Whew, that's a deep cut.
Yeah, I can't answer that. I'm sorry.
I can't either, Diaz.
That's a deep cut. The first
so
cut
really,
is the deepest.
Had I been able to do some research beforehand, I might have an opinion. But oh my goodness, I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know. But thank you so much for the super chat and the support. It really does mean a lot, and it helps us come up with like this figure that I have here from Heir to the Empire. We've got Luke Skywalker from Heir to the Empire right here, and we're gonna we've already done the drawing to give him away, and that the figure review will be coming out soon. So like these super chats, your support, that's what makes them happen. You're laughing. I said something. I'm sorry.
It's Ronnie. He said super sat. Love it.
I know. I can't help it.
Super sat.
My goodness. Yeah. Everyone gets to have an opinion. Well, except, if you go into fandoms, there's a lot of people who tell you that you cannot have an opinion because you're not qualified. So that's really what sort of led me to create this channel, is because I was dealing with a lot of negativity online and people telling me, well, Santa, you don't know what you're talking about, so your opinion's garbage, doesn't count. I'm like, well, who are you to tell me that my opinion is wrong? It's my opinion. There's things I like, things I don't. You can't tell me I'm wrong. That's the way that works. Oh my goodness. Kiaran, thank you so much for the super sticker. And I wish that StreamYard showed them, so I have to go and check that out later. Thank you so much. Yeah, I was talking to the wrong people. And Felicity is a good example. Felicity is fantastic. I love her. Met her over at the Den of Nerds Discord, and boy, did we knock heads. Right? We don't see eye to eye hardly at all, but we're fans. And she has been wonderful in debating things with me and saying, well, I don't agree, but I kind of see your point, and being able to really go into battle, if you will, in a productive way. And I appreciate that. And Nikki's another. Nikki, she has opinions, and she will tell you.
Yeah, she's a sassy skittle.
There you go, a sassy skittle versus Sheev, who's a saucy skittle.
He's a saucy little skittle. The key is to not pronounce any of the T's if you want to sound really like Cockney. That's a real thing. That's not. So don't demonetize that, Google.
Right. We have a bit of a joke going on, but every time we interact with Meg, Google always knocks down the monetization, and I have to appeal them. And so that's sort of where that joke comes from. Right. So,
ironic. He could prevent others from swearing, but not himself.
It'll come from the mispronunciation of Mount Tantus earlier.
Titties.
Saying it more quietly doesn't help.
Oh, okay.
Oh my goodness. Let's see. Get caught up on the chat. That boy Steve, hey, thank you so much. Yeah, everybody gets to be the fan they want to be. That's exactly right. Santa needs sponsored by Skittles. I do need sponsored by Skittles.
Skittles.
More accurately, yeah, Meg needs sponsored by Skittles.
I need more color in my life.
Do you? Do you really?
Taste the rainbow.
Is that
Feel
true?
The rainbow. Be the rainbow.
Feels to me like you've got lots of color in your life. I might be wrong. What do you think of the Slave One Firespray controversy? Again,
were you trying to say something then?
No, I didn't say nothing.
Okay. All right.
No, again, we had a bit of controversy before about Slave One being called Boba Fett's Starship by Lego, and some of the modelers out there being told that there's a name change. They're not supposed to use Slave One in their model kits or any of that. And that caused a big outrage. And now there's a new one. The new one is that from one of the comics, it has the Firespray listed. And in one of the press releases that came out, it talked a little bit about it and had it listed there as well. So, of course, everybody's mad again about renaming the Slave One Firespray. But as you know, like Firespray is the model of the ship, much like Din Djarin's, right, the Razor Crest. It's the name of the model, not the specific ship. So the Firespray is the model that Slave One is, and calling it the Firespray is like calling the Razor Crest the Razor Crest. So what do you think of all the new hubbub?
Yeah, I think it makes great outrage clicks. And you've seen a lot of that from, some people on YouTube where they didn't actually understand the situation. They just see the title of the headline by IGN, who got it completely wrong when they said that it's been completely renamed. But it's not. There's more nuance to it. They're going to refer to it as the model of ship it is, but it still stays Slave One. That never got removed.
Right.
And I think it was the same thing with the Lego situation, because ultimately Lego realized parents are not buying the Slave One because it's called the Slave One. They're looking for Boba Fett's starship, which they've done for many other vehicles in the Star Wars Lego. So This is nothing new. Slave One is still there. Firespray is just a different way to call it for certain things.
That's exactly right. They may be less willing to use Slave One, but it's never really been used for movie, TV shows, anything, right? We really never heard it called Slave One on screen ever. And all this jibber jabber, to put it in Meg speak, jibber jabber of renaming it is a big clickbait rage video source, but I don't know that it's that much
I agree
veracity.
with She, but I'm going to keep things politically neutral.
Yeah, I know.
He's exactly the type of person who would get outraged over nonsense.
Well, there's lots of folks that do that, and they've found a niche in the fandom to monetize around it, and they're playing to their market. So who's to say? I just don't think that there's a lot to get excited about. And on our Discord, somebody posted the link to Eckhart's Ladder's video on the naming bit. And I think Eckhart's Ladder did a fantastic job of diving into the story, breaking it down, and giving all the details. Really explains it well and makes it clear.
Eckhart's Ladder represents probably the best of this community, I think. Yeah. He's always, he always releases videos like a few days after everyone on a subject, but he's very well thought out. He's very level-headed. Justin, I think is his name. And yeah, just like with all subjects, he's really like the fire extinguisher for the flames when people get outraged. No, I agree. Eckhart's Ladder had the best take on this whole situation, as he often does.
Yeah, and I strongly recommend folks go check that out. It's really good. It's really informative, and it makes the most sense of it. And John 42, do kids still play with Lego? Indeed, they do. I could tell you as a Santa Claus who listens to hundreds of kids every day, many times. It's not unusual to see 200 or 300 kids in a day to ask them what they want for Christmas and take pictures at Christmas. Lego is in the top 5 of things that kids ask for, followed by, preceded by perhaps like video games. And girls will ask for Barbies or that kind of thing. But girls and boys alike, I hear Lego all day from hundreds and hundreds. So yes, they do play with Lego. And probably many parents can attest to the injuries they get from said Legos being on the floor.
Well, Big Brain Santa over here called me a kid once, so I still play with Legos. There you go.
Well, you're in between the age of my daughters, so they're my kids, and you're like family almost. So might not call you a kid too. You're 24, and I absolutely adore you. You know that. So
my precious little art can't take it.
It can't. I know it can. But let's see. Q&A. So we've kind of been dealing with it in the chat all along. Any other topics that are coming up? We got lots of folks talk about the toys that they play with, they collect. We know many adults are collectors, and it makes it tough to get hold of your vintage or Black Series figures that are in high demand. And speaking of which, there was a news drop Friday, I think it was yesterday, that there's going to be another Hasbro event in October. Their virtual con. Lots of new figures going to be announced, and of course the leak that came out inadvertently of the new HasLab project for Black Series getting that Rancor. So that's fantastic.
I can't wait for the upcoming Skywalker Saga game.
Oh, yeah, there's been a little bit of stuff I saw on Reddit.
An announcement on Wednesday, an official announcement. So, yes, I am 24, Steve. You're older than me by 4 years. That's nothing, because when we're in our 70s or 80s, it's all just old people at that point.
Right.
There's no age differentiation eventually. And then we become worm food, and life goes on. Well, not for us, but
Yeah, well, I'm 54, and I'm a member of Buckeye Santas. It's a group of real bearded Santa Claus here in Central Ohio, and throughout the state. And I'm one of the youngest members of the group, and they all call me a kid. So many of them have children my age, and when that happens, that's how that happens. You get called a kid when you're the same age as somebody else's children. So there you have it.
We're all kids to someone, I guess.
Yeah, and Mrs. Claus has been complaining because once our daughters moved out, I became more childish. So she has to deal with that.
I guess you can say she really dug her claws in.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Well, yeah, one day we become one with the Force. Luminous beings are we? Right?
Not this crude matter.
That's right. Yeah.
You must learn. No, you must unlearn what you've learned.
That's right. That's right. Well, look, we've gone a bit over an hour. Meg, I thank you so much for your time. I know it's dinner time for you. It's lunchtime here at the Claus household. The dogs are ready to get back out and wrestle again. And so I've had a lot of fun today. And hopefully you'll see Meg and I do this kind of Star Wars news rundown. Let us know. We just appreciate you all being here. We've had a nice viewer count during the whole stream, and look for us when we're able to do these on Fridays, and we'll try to announce them ahead of time so that you all can see it coming. And this is just a ton of fun. I always have fun. I've got my color back. It's good. I'm less red now. So thank you, Meg. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Santa. And we're doing this on Friday, I believe, next week.
Yes. Yeah, we're scheduling to do these on Fridays. And so sometimes there may not be things to talk about. We may have other things going on. So it's not a promise to all of you that every Friday you'll see Meg and I doing a news rundown. But as we're able, we would certainly love to do that. We have a lot of fun. The joking that goes on between the two of us, so much fun. and I love it. I absolutely adore Meg, everything you're doing, and I put links here. We've got two Meg's regular channel. Many of you know Star Wars Meg, of course, but she has a second channel, Meg's Cantina, where you publish music, and I plan to start playing those as a behind us as we're talking. So
and you can expect the next video in the next 10 minutes.
Oh, there you go. Another news drop from Meg. Go check out Meg's Cantina. Subscribe there. And in the next 10, 15 minutes, you'll see it. What's you promised, Santa. I know. We'll try to do it as much as we can. Patrick Ray. Hello. Try to make more of the streams. Thanks. We've had a lot of fun. And then another one, the other channel, Star Wars Meg's Legs. But really, the question everybody wants to know is, when are we getting our mega mugs? I need a Star Wars mega mug.
I literally just forgot about it again. I'm going to write this down on my forehead.
Well, then you have to carry a mirror around all the time to remind you.
I always carry a mirror. Just so that I get my bearings. I like to know what's going on all 360 degrees.
So we have a dynamic going on here right now. We have our two puppies, and we have our youngest daughter's puppy. And these
swung a cat.
Our puppies are not so fond of our daughter's puppy all the time because she doesn't always obey pack rules. And so we end up with some noise from time to time. All right, now I'm hot again. So with that, I think we'll call it a day. Thank you all for being here in the chat. We've had fun. Meg.
Swung a cat.
Listen,
I love cats. I don't know why I'm laughing.
Thank you. You all have a wonderful day. Thanks for spending some time with us, and we look forward to see you on Friday. Meg and I will do another Star Wars rundown, so look for those coming up. And you all have a wonderful day. Spend some time. Go outside. Hug your cat. Don't swing it. And we'll see you all soon. And until then, my friends, Merry Christmas, and may the Force be with you always. Take care.